Verstappen, Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel. With qualifying complete, all that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then. If you can't tell by the roar of the crowds, it's race day, and I think it's gearing up to be a really special one. The Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, 2.6 miles of track that allows drivers to take full advantage of their cars, reaching speeds in excess of 220 miles per hour. And providing lots of opportunities for overtaking. The circuit features 17 corners, 10 to the right and the remaining 7 going to the left. And what would any Grand Prix weekend be without the one and only Anthony Davidson, alongside me as always, to talk you through the action.
Obviously Max Verstappen is feeling pretty good about his chances here, and I have to agree with him on that. It's a clean run down into turn 1, and the car is completely underneath him. Honestly, I think he's going to be difficult to stop today. A couple of favourites for the win then, but who comes out on top doesn't really matter as long as they give us an entertaining show en route to the checkered flag. And we want to see fair fighting, of course, out there on the track. Let's hope the stewards don't have to get involved too much today.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he starts from pole position. And Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Bottas, Charles Leclerc and Ricciardo, Ocon, Albon, Kvyat and Carlos Sainz, Stroll, Perez, Lando Norris and Giovinazzi, Raikkonen, Gasly, Roman Grosjean and Kevin Magnussen, Russell and Nicholas Latifi. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
Here we are for the Mexican Grand Prix. Max Verstappen on pole, revving up to 5 red lights, and it's lights out, and away we go. And that is a stunning start from Valtteri Bottas, who started down, I believe, in 4th place, is now going to move up into 2nd. He's into 1st. Valtteri Bottas with the start of champions there. Try to come back in this championship. Valtteri Bottas, look at that through turn 1. This is just craziness going on. Verstappen takes P2. Hamilton's lost places. Verstappen gets a bit wayward on the exit of turn 1. Valtteri Bottas from P4 takes the lead of the race. Lewis Hamilton is now coming under threat from Sebastian Vettel, I believe. And what a start from Valtteri Bottas, who started down in P4, just rocketed to 1st. Brilliant reaction, brilliant speed, and now he's flying up in 1st place after a pretty disappointing qualifying yesterday. Qualifying was very, very interesting yesterday, but either way, Alex Albon behind Lance Stroll at the moment. He really struggled in qualifying, which we'll get to in a second. Albon very close to Stroll. He's actually going to have a look into the next corner, but Stroll has the Mercedes power, just going to hold him in front. And after the first lap, Valtteri Bottas, an incredible opening lap, takes the lead of the race, but we see how quick Verstappen's been in qualifying, and it looks like he's quicker than Bottas once again in this race. Here he is, Max Verstappen on the back of Valtteri Bottas. Will he go for it? He's looking like a little bit too far back to really do anything. Hamilton, who started in 2nd place and looked like he might have actually taken the lead up to turn 1, is losing massive time to Verstappen and Bottas here. But either way, here comes Verstappen, super quick through turn 1. He has a look to the outside. Bottas blocks him off. Now he's on the outside coming into the next corner. Bottas squeezing him. Bottas holds it down the inside. Look at the braking from Valtteri. He is fighting for this for this race when he knows his championship depends on it. If he doesn't win this race, he's essentially out of this championship. Not mathematically, but there goes Albon. No, sorry, there goes Kvyat down the inside of Albon. Would you believe it? Albon back down the inside. Daniel Kvyat fighting Alex Albon. But as I was trying to explain earlier, yesterday in qualifying, Max Verstappen on his first run was 7/10 off Lewis Hamilton. Then on his second run, an absolutely astonishing lap put him on pole position by only a tenth over Hamilton. Just shows how quick Lewis has been over this weekend. But more importantly, Valtteri Bottas was 8/10 off Verstappen and 7/10 off Lewis. And Alex Albon was 1.3 seconds off his teammate. Here comes Max Verstappen, though, in this race on the back of Bottas. Can't really make anything work. But it was a stunning qualifying session for Max Verstappen, who put in what I would say is a world championship winning qualifying lap. And usually quali doesn't really, obviously you don't get points in qualifying, but it was just such a good lap. Verstappen on the back of Bottas doesn't go for it. He can't really go for it. He's a bit too far back. But just an incredible lap, and Bottas loses the back end. That's the mistake that allows Max Verstappen to re-overtake Valtteri Bottas for the lead of the race. He's going to absolutely pull away now, isn't he? Although Valtteri does have that strong power unit that's going to allow him to be quick through Sector 1. Although, actually, in qualifying, surprisingly enough, Max Verstappen was so good in the first 3 corners. He was actually purple in Sector 1. Again, just mentioning just what an incredible lap it was for Max Verstappen to go and improve his time by 7/10 of a second. And 1.3 seconds over his teammate Alex Albon. And here he goes, Verstappen. He's so quick through the first and final sector. Sector 2, he's struggling actually surprisingly a little bit more. Despite it being a sector that probably suits his car the best, I guess it just doesn't suit his driving style the best. It's actually when, back in 2018, that was the one place where he lost a lot of time to Danny Rick in qualifying. But here comes Vettel. He is keeping up with Hamilton after being way down. But here comes Esteban Ocon down the inside of Daniel Ricciardo. He makes it work. There goes the McLaren of Carlos Sainz down the inside of Daniel Kvyat. Good move from Sainz as Norris is stuck behind Pierre Gasly. Seems the AlphaTauris are finally able to battle the Racing Points and the McLarens, and actually that might be because of the upgrades that they brought this weekend. And now Bottas, you can see actually Verstappen really struggling in Sector 2. Not sure why he's struggling so much in Sector 2, but he is losing a lot of time to Bottas there. But in Sectors 1 and 3, he is quicker, but of course Sector 1, Bottas going to have that DRS, so he's not really going to be quicker than Bottas through Sector 1. So really, it all depends on what's coming up on the tire wear and on their skill. The top 3 is going to be very important for this championship, because Lewis Hamilton currently leads the championship, but if things finish the way they are, if Max takes the fastest lap of the race, Lewis will still be leading the championship actually. While Bottas will still be 3rd, but he will be much closer to these two. And arguably back in the championship, if he can get into the lead of this race. He's on the back of Verstappen, can't make the move, he's a bit too far back. Good under braking, quick through turns 1, 2, and 3. It's Vettel! Vettel's done it on Hamilton. Sebastian Vettel has had some stunning pace in this race. He's so quick at this track sometimes, despite it naturally being one of his worst tracks. After, of course, 2015, his very embarrassing crash. But either way, back to 2020, Sebastian Vettel taking 3rd place away from Lewis Hamilton. Not sure if Lewis has a problem or if his race pace is just struggling, because in qualifying he was properly giving Verstappen a good run for his money, and now in the race he's slower than Bottas and Verstappen. So maybe he has a problem, or maybe he's just genuinely struggling in this race. Of course, there's that new DRS zone that Bottas is using to his advantage to stay with Verstappen, but you see through these corners, Verstappen's so quick, although his Bottas was very late under braking coming into that little hairpin in the stadium section. They fly through the final corner. It looks like Verstappen's going to stay in front, and Hamilton's lost a lot of time to Vettel. Vettel's flying at this stage of the race. Valtteri Bottas on the back of Max Verstappen. He got a good exit last time. He's going to go to the outside. They're going to go side by side. The two championship rivals round the outside. Look at that, late on the brakes. Max Verstappen stupidly late on the brakes. Incredible move from Verstappen to stay in front. Incredible defensive driving, incredible battling coming into turn 1. This is what we want to see because Valtteri Bottas is coming back at Max Verstappen. Verstappen takes the defensive line. Valtteri Bottas goes around the outside. He can't make it work for Verstappen. Once again, showing just how good he is under extreme pressure under these defensive scenarios. Just showing why I think he probably deserves this championship. If not him, Lewis Hamilton, who has also had a stunning season in terms of his skill and speed. Valtteri Bottas cracked under the pressure, surprisingly enough. Cracked under the pressure of leading this race, lost the back end and allowed Verstappen to get in front, but now he is more determined than ever to get that lead back from Verstappen, as we see, because he needs that lead to stay in this championship. As in my opinion, I would say he is out of this championship if he doesn't win this race. And now Hamilton is losing time to Vettel, but Bottas is actually staying with Verstappen. He's quick enough through Sector 3 that he's going to have the DRS. Verstappen already pulling out of that slipstream. He's trying to stay out of that, but that Mercedes power unit, as we saw in USA, is so strong. Of course, with the higher elevation, it's not going to be as strong here, but it's still super strong. Look at how much he's catching. Verstappen down the inside. He's going to go for it. Verstappen on the outside. Bottas is going to try and get a better exit through these next corners. He's right up behind Verstappen. Now opening up that DRS wide open. Getting that slipstream. Verstappen goes defensive. Not defensive enough. Valtteri Bottas in the tightest of lines. Max Verstappen incredibly late on the braking, and he holds it in front of Bottas. It's that's something I've really noticed about Verstappen. He's so good under brakes. As he actually goes a little bit wide through those. There's a double right-hander, but through turn 1 we saw under initial braking he actually outbroke Bottas despite being in front of him. Then Bottas beat him under trail braking, coming into turn 1, 2, and 3, then down the next straight. They're very close. Verstappen squeezing Bottas very tight into the corner, and that meant that Bottas couldn't brake as late as Verstappen. Max has been so good under braking this season, and in terms of his battling, keeping it clean, but very good under defensive driving. And that's, I believe, Sergio Perez in his home Grand Prix in last place, if I'm not mistaken, unless it's Lance Stroll. In that case, that'd still be a very bad performance, as he actually outqualified Perez in his home Grand Prix, would you believe it? As into the pits goes the Renault of Esteban Ocon, I think? But Bottas on the back of Verstappen. Vettel's actually catching them, as is Hamilton, because this battle is going on. It's slowing them down so much, which could mean Vettel can now get into the mix. Vettel has just been so quick in these last few races in both USA and Mexico, as even in Japan he was relatively quick, but not as quick as his teammate Charles Leclerc, who's actually been kind of irrelevant in these last couple of races. Vettel has been beating him, but in terms of the championship, Vettel has more wins, but Leclerc is destroying him in the championship. I believe Vettel's almost a race win behind. It's a little bit disappointing from Vettel, but at the same time, he's doing a great job in these races, trying to beat his teammate. But anyways, back to the more important thing, which is the World Championship. The World Champion, who knows is going to win? It's anyone's game at the moment, because really, Bottas, if he can win this race, I believe he can win this championship if he can get some good results in Brazil and Abu Dhabi. We know he's good at Abu Dhabi. Brazil, not so much, but he is still decent at Brazil. And he does have a pole position there back in 2017. And into the pits goes Verstappen and Bottas. Will Mercedes beat Red Bull in the pits? We can see that gap. Now, will it decrease or increase? As into the pits, Verstappen very lucky that pit box of the Ferrari is behind him. And it looks like it's about the same. Maybe Red Bull have put a bit of a better pit stop than Mercedes. I can't even talk. As Max Verstappen comes back on track, trying to win this race. Now onto these medium tires. Who knows who's going to be the quickest? For all we know, Sebastian Vettel could be the quickest guy on track. But we've seen Max Verstappen just been super quick this race. He's destroyed his teammate, honestly. I don't know if it's the Red Bull being that slow, or if it's just Albon, because honestly, Red Bull hasn't exactly been that strong, and Albon's been putting in some pretty decent performances in both Japan and USA. Some incredible performances, actually. As Verstappen goes off track there again, going off track, but not as much as he was in USA, but still, gotta keep it on track. To win this championship, or at least to win this race. Max Verstappen continues to lead here in Mexico. As as Valtteri Bottas has dropped massive time on Max Verstappen. I don't know if he can still win this race. I don't know what's going on with Valtteri, because he is nowhere to be seen. I'm not sure. Does Valtteri have a puncture or a big problem? I really, really don't know. That's Verstappen. Where is Bottas? Where is Bottas? Out of the pits goes Alex Albon. He's way behind Max. I do not see Valtteri Bottas. And yes, Max Verstappen leads the race, followed by Sebastian Vettel. And you know what that means? Valtteri Bottas, for a second time in a row, is out of the race. And a crushing blow to his championship in Mexico. That is unbelievable. He was on course to possibly win this race. And out of the race goes Bottas. Not sure if the team screwed up his pit stop. He was some ways into the lap when he retired. But that's horrible for him, as Hamilton seems to maybe have a problem because he's losing a lot of time to Vettel. He's losing time to Leclerc. The Mercedes reliability is spiraling downwards. The massive power gains with the new engine upgrades seems to have screwed up their entire reliability system, which has been relatively good, at least for Bottas, who I believe has no DNFs this season until USA and now Mexico. Unbelievable. Hamilton has 2 mechanical DNFs, plus his DNF in, of course, Austria when he rear-ended Kvyat, which could be a championship winning, or championship losing mistake, as Ocon is in front of Ricciardo, holding it in P5 at the moment. Incredible drive from Ocon after some relatively lackluster performances recently compared to his teammate, as Alex Albon is behind Ricciardo on merit. No weird tire choices, nothing like that. He's genuinely behind him, but he is catching them. It has to be said, he is pretty quick, but Max Verstappen is stupidly quick as he leads this race. And I'm just in disbelief for Valtteri Bottas, who looked like he could have very well actually won this championship, as usually when he battles Lewis for the championship about halfway through the season, that championship dream goes down the drain. But now, this season, he really brought it all the way to USA, where he was leading the championship, and it's unbelievable how it's just gone so wrong for him in the last 2 races. That is very, very unfortunate for poor old Valtteri. Probably wanted to try and have a go at winning this race, and maybe even have a go at winning the championship with strong performances in Brazil and Abu Dhabi. Esteban Ocon still in front of Ricciardo. This Renault battle could get very interesting. Leclerc actually can't really overtake Hamilton the way Vettel did, and it's losing him time. On the subject of overtaking Hamilton, Hamilton's holding it on the inside. Leclerc is on the outside, which will have the inside for the next corner. It'll be the outside for the next corner, but he's right behind Lewis with that powerful Ferrari power unit. Now he can see he's on the back of Lewis. Hamilton goes defensive. Charles Leclerc round the outside. Can he make this work? Just like Lewis did to Fernando back in 2017. They're still side by side. What a battle. Charles Leclerc down the inside. He's made it work, not quite. Lewis comes back at him. And round the outside goes Charles Leclerc. What a move from Charles Leclerc. I was just saying how he couldn't really overtake Lewis, but he's just put in one of the best overtakes this season around the outside of turn 4. And then the outside of, I believe, turn 7. What a move. As Albon is now catching these Renaults, he is pushing to catch them. He's on the back of Ricciardo now. After a relatively disappointing qualifying, he wants to make up for it with a stronger race as his teammate leads this race. How embarrassing must that be? You're battling for the midfield, and your teammate is leading the race. I can't imagine the frustration going through Alex Albon's head right now, but either way, he's chasing down Danny Rick and Esteban Ocon. It's going to be a big challenge to overtake them because of their straight line speed. You can see now Ricciardo is still holding it in front of Alex Albon. This battle for P5 continues on as Ocon's pace on these harder compound tires are slowing him down quite a bit over his teammate, where he was actually quicker than his teammate in the first stint, surprisingly enough. And now it's allowed Albon to catch up as well. He's been much quicker in the race than he was in qualifying. Now onto the straight they go. Ricciardo's gonna have DRS. Albon's gonna have DRS. I don't think Albon can do it through that final corner. The Renault just flies off that final corner. And it means that Albon just can't get close enough. But Ricciardo is getting closer and closer to Ocon with that DRS. Now as he continues to close that gap on Esteban Ocon, he's getting closer and closer. Can he make it work? Now Ricciardo's still on the back of Ocon. Can he get him on the straight? He's again a bit too far back. And here goes Danny Ricky, pulls to the outside, round the outside of Esteban Ocon. He's done it. Ricciardo's done it. Into P5 now. And Ocon might lose out to Albon now, but he might be able to hold off Albon. Hamilton may have gotten that problem sorted because now he's caught up to Leclerc. Charles Leclerc holding it in front of Lewis Hamilton. Just about, but Ricciardo with the DRS, with the slipstream, probably was using the overtake button as he just flew past Ocon and was in front of him even before the braking zone, or at least 3/4 of his car was, and then he just outbroke him into the braking zone as now he's pulling away from Ocon. Look at that beautiful Renault just flying along as Ocon is coming under massive pressure now from Alex Albon, who's much closer to Ocon than he was to Ricciardo. Ocon really struggling for pace now. It looks like he's absolutely shredded his tires because now he's losing tons of time to Ricciardo. He's still going to have DRS on the straight though, so that means he's probably going to be able to hold Albon behind. Good exit off that final corner. I'm pretty sure he has DRS. Albon still just about behind him, but we move out to the front. Hamilton round the outside of Charles Leclerc. This battle's actually incredible. Leclerc holds it back down the inside. Then Hamilton's back around the outside, opens up the DRS, and it should be enough with the DRS. Surely, and yes it is. He's done it. Hamilton back up into P3 now as Vettel holds P2. Leclerc and Hamilton going for it in these battles. It's incredible to watch these two battle. And Lewis Hamilton takes that podium away from Charles Leclerc, as it seems he's gotten his problem in his car sorted, because now he's pulling quite a lot on Leclerc. He's really pushing. It doesn't look like he's going to have enough time to get Vettel. There's only a few laps left in this race, and he's a bit too far back, but Max Verstappen continues to pull away from Vettel, and he's doing a brilliant job of it. Max Verstappen, honestly, has just been on another level. I truly believe the Ferrari and Mercedes are quicker car than the Red Bulls this weekend. But Mercedes screwed over by reliability, and Ferrari just not quick enough. I'm not sure though. Maybe the Red Bull's the quickest car, but from what I've seen, I think the Red Bull has just not been that good this race. And that long straight, despite it not being as significant as the USA because of the lower drag at this track, it still means that that the Honda power unit and the Red Bull are just not as quick on the straights as the Ferraris and Mercedes. But as you can see, Albon has overtaken Ocon. Maybe Ocon has a problem there because he's losing time to Albon, who's in pursuit of Danny Rick, trying to catch him. Only a few laps left in this race. I don't think he'll be able to do it because he's really going to have to outpace Ricciardo. But you can see through these corners, he is very much doing that in Ricciardo's older car back in 2018. As he's battling his former team. Danny Rick holding it in front of Alex Albon. Verstappen just flying in this race. He's been on another level. He has like an 18-second gap over his teammates. He's got a like 5-6 second gap over Vettel. It's just incredible to watch him here. Max Verstappen, truly just an incredible drive. But Valtteri Bottas at the same time could have very well won this race. Who knows who would have won this race had he not retired? And it's just so unfortunate he had to, because he robbed us. Because that robbed us of a pretty interesting battle. But either way, here we are on the final lap of the race. Max Verstappen on course to win. Ricciardo should be able to hold Albon behind. It looks like it's going to be Verstappen, followed by Vettel, Hamilton, Leclerc, then Ricciardo. Another brilliant P5 for him, just has to be said. He's been so consistent, so fast this season. And once again, he beats Albon in this race. Max Verstappen wins here in Mexico, and that is going to give him the lead in this championship over Lewis Hamilton. Brilliant drive from Max. Absolutely incredible.
The thin air here in Mexico City makes this event a brutal one for these Formula One cars. But this team have done a fantastic job to make it to the checkered flag and take a well-earned victory. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. There's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams, and they're certainly proving themselves. So let's review the updated drivers' standings. Today's performance means Max Verstappen now owns the top spot in the Drivers' Championship. Some amazing talents out on the track today, but Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
Max Verstappen seemed to just effortlessly weave through the other drivers today without a care in the world. He was definitely my driver of choice.
It's another clear win for Mercedes as they managed to secure the Constructors' title. An incredible performance for the whole team. I'm equal parts exhausted and elated with this weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for the next one.